You might not recognize where I am now, and that's because I don't live here. COVID has been getting worse and worse in Sydney, and I decided not to go up to Sydney for my non-essential medical appointments. Even though my tooth was really sore last week, it can wait. I don't want to know about getting the Delta variant. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with quarantining at home for another 2 weeks. So instead, last night I decided it's now or never. Maybe they're going to shut down everything. It's time to go for a holiday. It's time to have a break. It's time to try and recharge. It's time to take myself on a writing retreat. So at 11 p.m. last night, I think it was, I booked this cabin. I was really lucky that this was available and that I could, just drop everything, not that I was carrying anything. It's only available because people who were intending to come down to Jindabyne to ski or to snowboard can't come because they're trapped in Sydney. So this was available for, I think, 4 days. So I'm staying here for 3 nights and having a little holiday, and it's the most beautiful place I've ever been to. This is my first writer's retreat. It's something I'm conceptually very excited about, but yet to really execute on. It's day 2, and I barely did anything yesterday. Yesterday, what I ended up doing was reading through the first 4 chapters that I've already written for the 4th book of the Phoenix series. I keep wanting to actually name it, but I'll keep the name under wraps for now. And I actually really enjoyed reading it, which is kind of nice when you haven't looked at something for so long, because you always go back to it and you think you're going to hate it, but I actually really enjoyed it. And I kind of edited that and dabbled with that as I went through, and I added 177 words. So I almost kind of feel like I can't really include that in my word count, but theoretically yesterday I kind of sort of thought about achieving something, and hopefully today I'm ready to go because I've read through that and kind of picked up where I left off from last time. The other bonus sort of is that the weather is horrendous today. So it is freezing cold outside, on and off rain, but it is blowing such a gale that there was a warning notice put out for shepherds to make sure their little lambs were inside because it was the weather conditions that lambs may not survive. So while that is crap weather, I guess it's all about perspective, and maybe that means I'll stay inside and be rugged up and have no excuse but to write, or at the very least read. So I'm gonna put the fire on now and try and get going. I'll show you what today's weather is like. It's beautiful and sunny, but I don't think it's gonna stay that way for long. So no filming outside today. I was all ready to write, and then my computer's had an emotional breakdown, so I think I'm going to read for a little bit and then just hope that it sorts itself out, because Lord knows I'm not tech savvy. I'm just going for a little walk down the valley because apparently down the bottom there's a river and you can see platypus, which I've never seen in the wild, and a whole bunch of wombats, which I love. So I'm going to do a quick 1 kilometer roll down the hill and probably a very slow 1 kilometer back up the hill. But I've got the puppies that live on this farm with me, so that should be really nice. I probably should have brought my tripod with me, but there's no going back now. Well, I guess there is. I got to go back later, but I'm not going back up the hill just to come back down. My 4-legged escorts. Hi, puppies. Did you find a wombat poo? This is gonna suck on the way back up. Friggin' shoes have no grip left. Come on, puppet. We gotta go find the platypus. You know what I realized this morning? That's an unfortunate turn of events given what I've ended up doing is I packed half my house to come away on holidays and I forgot deodorant. Wonder who lives in there. Now that I'm about to hike back up the hill, I realize there's something else I forgot this morning. I forgot to take my heart tablets. So job well done to me on today. Tiny is so cute. I don't know if that's her actual name, but she keeps waiting for me. But that's the hill I gotta climb up. And it goes like that and winds up and around these trees for at least 1 kilometer. How did you end up behind me, Tiny? Oh my God. That was so steep. I think now it's time to take my heart tablets and then go and buy some deodorant, and then I can start riding. Operation Deodorant, let's go. This is such a beautiful spot, but it's absolutely freezing. It is just after 1:30 and I'm finally sitting down to write. I spent all morning unexpectedly negotiating a contract for me to return to work. So I kind of got a bit distracted and now I'm going to sit down and write. I will. So I'm at 41,130 words. I've got to get 50,000 words done in a week. As of yesterday, I'm nearly 24 hours in and I haven't even really written 200 words. So in terms of the Phoenix series, I heard back from my editor today actually, so that the 3rd book in the Phoenix series is underway. I remember when I was dragging my feet editing that just a couple of weeks ago, I remember really thinking that I needed to get going with that, and because I could feel that Marley was starting to decline in a way that he wasn't going to bounce back from. And so I wanted to really focus on the editing and get my side of it done then, so that I could send it off to the editor, so that I wasn't trying to meet any, promised deadlines or anything while in the midst of grief. I knew it was coming, as much as I don't like that it happened. And was never ready for it. But I'm really glad that I did that I focused and got that done beforehand, because it was only a few days later that he died, and it would have dragged the whole process out for so much longer if I was now editing, rather than trying to get going for writing. With book 4 of the Phoenix series, I have a lot of notes written already because I'm not a sequence writer. So I write whatever comes into my head for whichever part of the series whenever it comes. So I have scenes already written for all of the remaining books in the Phoenix series. I have a fairly substantial amount of book 6, which will be the final book, already written, which, I mean, given that book 4 isn't even halfway done, I think is probably unusual, but it also is helpful in that I can get those ideas down and then forget about them. And then sometimes what happens is when I'm writing that book, then I'll come back and I'll be like, you know what, I should really include this. And I'll go and read through my notes and I was like, already on it, done it. Or sometimes what will happen is I'll be reading the notes and I'll go, oh my God, that's awesome. I'm so glad I didn't forget that, because I had forgotten that and thank God I wrote it down. So I just kind of do what comes to me as I go. I think with book 4, I probably have about 42 pages worth of content. Some of that is notes. And I have transferred that over to Scrivener. I don't know how I feel about Scrivener yet, because all I've done is fiddle with the backgrounds to get the mood right, and then Marley died, so nothing happened. I don't know if I'll stick to Scrivener. I will give it a bit of a try tomorrow when I'm writing and just see how it goes, and maybe I'll stick with it. My big thing is going to be working out how, if I write my full manuscript on Scrivener, how do I send that in a format that is editor friendly over to my editor, and how do I then upload that to Vellum to format it when I'm done. And I mean, the only reason I ask that question now is because I'm lazy, and once I work out how to do something, I don't really want to learn a new way to do it. So I am kind of dragging my feet with Scrivener, and that is kind of also annoyingly the case with a lot of other things like Amazon ads and stuff like that. I just, you know, I learned how to do Facebook ads once for the clinic, and God, I hated doing that. So, and it just always seems so futile as well. So I don't know. I guess there's a steep learning curve ahead. I am so stoked to have a fireplace again. My place in Sydney has one, but my place in Jervis Bay doesn't, and there's nothing really like the warmth that comes from a fire, or the joy of putting wood in, even if you do end up with ash and soot everywhere. I thought I would have a little bit more internet access here, but I actually have to stand on one side of the room right up against the wall to get a little bit. So it's kind of nice. I'm forced off the grid a little bit, and I think that's really good, because I've been getting messages about how many hours per day I'm spending on my phone, and I don't know how it's like a full-time job, but apparently it basically is. So hopefully I can switch things around and ditch the phone and spend a little bit more time on the laptop doing work, although I think the phone also calculates how much time I spend like on my laptop and stuff. So I feel like that's unfair. But anyway, being off the grid will not hurt one bit. If anything, I think it'll be really good for me. Feeling toasty. Thank you so much for watching another video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You can check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Pip Coombs, and you can also check out my books, The Hunted and A Night Rises, which are the first 2 books of the Phoenix series, and they're available in ebook and paperback anywhere that books are sold.